transformative role in healthcare. The giant continues today with another power-packed session by a stalwart from the industry. I am pleased and privileged to introduce our esteemed resource person for this session, Dr. Tanushyam Chattopadhyay, an industry thought leader and innovator in artificial intelligence and computer vision. So I would like to invite as the principals at SIMT, our coordinator, madam, and the librarian, Mr. Shapul was to felicitate Dr. Chattopadhyay. Oh, I also like to request Vitasta madam to join us.
চিপটা ক্লিয়ার করে দিলাম, সমস্ত টিভিটা ক্লিয়ার করে দিলাম।
Before Dr. Tanushyam Chattopadhyay starting his session, I take this opportunity to extend our heartfelt thanks and pleasure to have him as a speaker on behalf of Supreme Knowledge Foundation. Whenever, I cannot think any of my technical programs since last decades without including Dr. Chattopadhyay in that, and he's having expertise in various domains along with his patents. And whenever I take any decision, I always try to address the industry academia gap, and he is one of my mentors in that sense while we discuss that. So again, our sincere gratitude to you, Dr. Chattopadhyay, for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule and to be here. Thank you.
And I think that, I don't know, is there anyone who doesn't understand Bengali here? Please raise your hands. Who doesn't understand Bengali?
Dr. Chattopadhyay is the practice head of computer vision at Sirius Digitech, a multinational joint venture between Adani India and international holding company UAE. With over 12.5 years of experience in artificial intelligence, he brings a rare blend of academic excellence, cutting-edge industry exposure, and product innovation expertise. His key responsibilities including strategic planning, product innovation, stakeholder management, IP coordination, and building university collaboration for the entire Adani Group. He holds an impressive portfolio of over 100 plus granted patents globally. He has led cross-functional team in successfully designing, developing, deploying both computer vision and generative AI products. Dr. Chattopadhyay began his academic career with physics honors degree from Vishwabharati University, ranking third, and later earned a university gold medal in MCA from IIT Shibpur in 2002. He started his career as a researcher at the Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata, and later he joined Tata Consultancy Services Limited in 2004 and worked till November 2022 as a principal scientist. Later he was awarded a PhD degree from Jadavpur University for the work done at ISI, Kolkata in 2012. He has also undergone specialized training in speech signal processing at IIT Bangalore, image processing at IIT Kharagpur, and video processing at IIT Delhi. Currently, he is enrolled in the Chief Product Officer certification program at IIM Kozhikode. He also authored a book and some book chapters. He has published nearly 70 plus papers in peer-reviewed journal and conference. He is also a member of the International Machine Learning Society and proficient Python and C programmer with deep expertise across diverse AI domains. Dr. Chattopadhyay also served as a member of the Board of Studies of several academic institutions. He has delivered tutorials, keynote addresses, and served as a reviewer, technical program chair, session chair in several international conferences and journals. He was awarded many awards in his academic and professional life. His core area of research is diverse fields of AI. We are truly honored to have such an accomplished individuals with us today. I now invite Dr. Tanushyam Chattopadhyay to kindly take over the session and enlighten us with his insights on the innovations and challenges of applying AI in healthcare. So, what do you?
Thank you for a nice welcome. I mean, anyone is there who doesn't understand Bengali or Bengali jokes? Because pure Bengali, I mean, what I can say, typical Bengali student I was. So I believe that I'm audible till the end without microphone, and actually this is all my question. So I mean, you know that's raining outside, so it's not that I'm not going to. What I can say, teach you anything. You are teachers, but what I can do is that I can give you some thought for idea. On the other hand, I also want to learn something. Why I participate in all these sessions is that I cannot remember any session where I didn't learn anything from you participants. So my only expectation is that I mean, please make the session interactive, and I can ensure that whenever you are sleepy, I can give you a break. Even I can use the main case in something. So is there any such what is the formula? I mean, how it is going the form that after 45 minutes or 1 hour some breaks are there, or continuous 1 and 1 hour? Okay. You did 12, 2 hours.
Till 12 and then after that you will start the paper.
Yeah, from 10 to 12, it's something like that, and then okay. So, how many are you from a medical background? So,
There are few who are yet to join. So
fine. Let me understand who are there. I cannot count them who are still in the bush. So let me count who are in my hand. So you are from madam, you are there, and some other. So in where you are?
We are in a hospital administration, so we are the faculty and HOD of the hospital.
Okay, you.
Sir, I mean, CA department, computer applications department.
So I have put all these things from my understanding and my literature survey. And some of the works I did from outside India, some work I have done for some hospitals. So if you think something I can add, please tell me. I can discuss on that. If you think some real use cases are there, we can discuss on that. So please break the barrier that this is podium, this is at participant's place. You can raise any point anytime, and from my experience I can make it what I can say, a normal discussion session. Don't take it formal training session. And you are from where?
I'm from Institute of Advanced Education and Research. I'm faculty of hospital management.
Management. You are also management. Yeah. Whenever some sitting together means that this is a cluster. From my machine learning understanding, I know that this is a cluster. Anyone from computer background? This is again another cluster. You see that interesting pattern is there. No way that any rows can be planted beside a tube nose. So it's a common pattern that all clusters are together. So computation background, we were working on AI, you were aware of, and GenAI has changed everything now. And anything from electronics? Very good. Cross environmental, so sensors and all these things, and communication where I don't know anything. So you know these things very well. If I need some help, please guide me that time. Okay. And others, who are from others background?
optometry is there and medical lab technology faculties are also there.
Optometry means something like related to eye. Electronics, I treat them as same format. So I cannot still separate them. So let's start. So, my topic given to me is relationship care through integration of AI. Means maybe topic was something different, but I changed it something like that, but I think the theme is same. So here certain points are there. First, how we'll proceed that first enhancement of IC through integration of AI. There are two parts. We need to enhance ICU and how by using AI. So whenever we are talking about enhancement of something, say just think of that enhancement of its two ways. Enhancement of someone, like I told that I every day whenever I come for patients or sessions, I am getting enhanced. Enhancement, what is enhancement? Means very normal mathematical. I avoid mathematics all through the presentation, but sometimes I speak in the jargon of mathematics. So something, what is that? Say I am here, I will reach to some plus plus 10. Say if I am in x, I will reach to at least x plus 1 or at least x plus 0.1. So for that, we need to understand where we are now and what are the present challenges. Introduction to it. So this is my agenda today, that enhancement. So first we need to understand what, how ICU works nowadays, how we can use AI for transforming ICU, and how can we really implement it. I am not core researcher, I am not core service service company individual. My expertise is something interesting, where whatever we do the research, we try to convert them in a product. Also, you have seen that the product I am working on, the first slide was that vigilance.ai. That's the product name on which I am working now. And it has multiple features. So one of them would be healthcare. And next is the case studies and success stories. So unless and until someone heard in talking for you sitting, if anyone is unless and until they know about that, what is the success stories, how it is happening, no one will get any interest to do something. Whether it's still theoretical or some success is already there. And future perspective, along with that, some ethical considerations are absolutely required for the particularly who are in the healthcare or hospital management. They know that ethical challenges, privacy, these are absolutely challenging, particularly for the healthcare domain. So, how can we take care of these things? I can share the entire slide deck with you, so you can concentrate here. So there is no problem in sharing any slide deck. And if time permits, I will take you through something beyond that, which might be interesting for understanding how AI is changing the other than the healthcare, the world, and particularly not from ICU perspective, in general healthcare So I don't know whether anyone got the opportunity. So just think 3 points why ICU is required for this care.
So when the patient, becomes critically ill at a point where he is unable to do his own work and needs support, either physiological support, then we can shift that patient to ICU.
Absolutely. So just 3 points I mentioned. So first one is that first someone is critically ill. Intensive treatment is required. So whenever I'm talking about ICU, so example, so first one is the front line of so first one is the frontline medical care means whenever some patient who needs a life-threatening, Alan was talking about the life-threatening condition, that time we normally try to take him or her to ICU. Second, after reaching there, what is not happening in normal way and what is happening in the ICU, that there are constant some, what I can say the indicators and monitors are connected.
Mechanical support.
Artificial supports, I can say that monitoring system, just not coming to the, support I coming later. So first we need to understand what support he needs. So first someone feels sick. So I want to tell everything as a story time. So what happens really? So that we can remember it very easily. Is it that someone feels very sick, that's why we came to hospital. After getting the first level of treatment, it is treated as some support might be required or some more things to be monitored first. So for that what we do, we have to take him to ICU and there ECG, blood pressure monitoring, the pulse oximeter, everything is added. So that we can monitor his physiological conditions. Very technical word possibly physiological conditions we can monitor. And based on that, what will be, like you are telling that for that only, say someone is suffering from who's required dialysis, he may need not to give for the oxygen support. On the other hand, for some heart attack patient, he doesn't need any dialysis. So for that we need to monitor his health conditions. Maybe sometimes that is also required, multi-organ failure indications. So for that I usually tell one story that, that monitored interesting example happened. So some lady, for certain reason I also need to enter to ICU, though it is a pure acidity, but my palpitation was very high. So doctor started treating me as a cardiac problem, and I'm telling that no, I'm absolutely well, but still, I was in ICU. Suddenly another lady came, she also did not do. So my monitoring was going on, and my pulse rate, I told the palpitation, that's why pulse rate is always going above nearly 80, 85 it was going, and some alert sound was generated. So lady told that I cannot sleep properly, can you please unplug what is my monitoring condition? So still I can remember that incident that if that thing really happens in an ICU, you can understand what can happen. So these are the 3 basic things that he needs to be constantly monitored. And here is a catch. I will come to it later that where is the problem. You see, here is a chicken and egg problem. Whenever someone is really sick, he or she needs to transfer to ICU. And thinking of the probability perspective, from pure mathematics, not pure, just from the pure perception, whenever he is in ICU, he is getting the better treatment than the general bed. So the possibility of getting cured is more. That's why whenever he is getting cured, he is coming to the general bed. But again, he can recover. That time, nothing is monitored whenever he is in general bed. On the other hand, when he is getting well, really if he is recovering, that time all the monitoring is happening. It leads to some problem. I'll come to it later. Is it that something and he is telling that whatever I have written. So you can see here the next slide. Okay. So first one is patient to nurse ratio. So who are not from medical background, still I am addressing mostly. I am taking your feedback and I am listing them here. So I want to speak about some very bad incident that happened in Kolkata Medical College in NIC. I don't know whether you can remember that incident. 2 babies infants were born out.
Yes,
Can you remember?
you will like
Because that some mother took and because of the incubation kit increased. So I start with this thing. I see. Another the typical problem. 3 ICU patients are to be treated by only 1 nurse. It's absolutely ridiculous thing. Whenever some really patient monitoring is happening, if it is not taken care properly, then why is ICU? So first one is the high patient to nurse ratio. Some of you mentioned about it. So ICUs often experience high patient to nurse ratios, not often, always. So which can strain healthcare providers and impact patient care. You all aware of it. And increased workload. That is something possibly you were mentioning that. Increased workload is something that 3 beds, very normal 3 beds to 1, nurse is now allocated, but really what happens that even it is more. And complexity in the patient care. The complexity of patient condition in ICU requires specialized knowledge. So whenever we are talking about nurse, we are treating them is absolutely knowledgeable and skilled, as well as one more term we always ignore is that willing to serve. Whenever we are thinking of nurse, every time that Florence Nightingale's image comes to our mind, but is it really for doing some help or is it just for earning money? Particularly this is a profession where it is expected something to touch the heart, to get the heart healed. Other than that, it's not possible. So if these are the challenges, am I missing anything point so that I can add for the future?
One is the handover takeover issues.
Yes, that is something, another issue is that at the time of handover.
Yes, there is a major mistakes will happen in the hospital. There is the handover takeover.
Maybe some medicines is forgot to give in something.
Medicine investigations.
Right. So my other slides are getting improved like that. So in next presentation I will add it so that any points, sir? Yeah, this is something that experience and I'm a typical bomb. So I visited coffee house. Have you visited coffee house? I don't know everyone learned, heard the song of coffee house, everyone. So, have you noticed the famous quotation of Oscar Wilde in the second floor?
right side.
Right side. Apart from the Rabindranath being quoted, there is a quotation: man makes mistake and name it as experience. So I made mistake, I didn't add it. So this is now I am getting more experience. So that's why I can say that I have given the tutorials and talk to that many places. So whenever I am increasing, this is enhancement of mind. So now that why we need technical advancement. So everything I try to narrate as a story. So some patient needs to come to ICU. What is the reason? Then what are the challenges in ICU? And then how can we use technological advancement? So first one is that enhancing the patient care. Like first one is absolutely by providing better monitoring. Now I mentioned everyone agreed that patient to nurse ratio. So one problem I have seen very recently, not in ICU to be specific, but in general way, the saline complicate, means the bottle is exhausted, but still it is on. So no one knows that when to change, and it happens really same that again that paradox that whenever he is getting well, he is taking in an oxygen property, that much oxygen flow can be reduced. So pulse oximeter versus oxygen flow, there is no synchronization is there. It is still human dependent, and the same thing happened that, I don't know, anyone doctor can tell me better. The doctor told that if the oxygen saturation is high and still the oxygen flow is high, it is not good for them. I don't know. So you can classify it.
Toxicity happens.
Yes, it is the damaging the lungs.
So you can tell that proper reason, but you can correct me if you are telling the wrong thing. So this is as per my knowledge. So now you see that if this thing can be done using AI, it is helping not only the professionals, because everyone needs to be somehow treated. So it will help us. Yours professionally or us as a patient. Next point is that so technological advancements can significantly improve patient care in ICUs by providing better monitoring and treating options. Streamlining process. Innovative solutions can help streamlining process in ICUs, facilitating quicker response times and more efficient workflows. So whenever I'm talking about the workflow, that inherently implies that handover and this the shift changing times. Workflow means some patients needs to go for these tests today, and based on these tests he needs to take these medicines today. I have seen some typhoid patients in ICU also, where Calpol or something, a paracetamol type of medicines is given, though the temperature is now in control. So workflow cannot be said right now how the workflow happens here. Every day the workflow starts at the beginning when the doctor comes, he gives a course of action. Among them, one of them what is that these tests to be performed today. So particularly for the dengue patients, I know for sure that one is the WBC count. You all have heard of these facts. So now we see WBC count, he given the test, but what action to be taken after getting the report, doctor may not come to visit that time because of again that doctor to patient ratio. So whenever the workflow is generated, I'm mentioning about this efficient workflow whenever I'm talking about. So whenever the workflows are getting generated, it is absolutely old traditional method where no change can happen. He is giving the tests, but after test what to do, no one knows. And to the best of my knowledge, certain diseases are there, like when I was talking about the oxygen toxicity. So similar certain medicines are there which should not be given if it comes within the control. Some antibiotics are coming within the control. Third one, supporting healthcare professionals. By alleviating the burden of healthcare professionals, technological advancement can improve job satisfaction and patient outcomes. Job satisfaction is absolutely required. I mentioned that, like in the case of Florence Nightingale, I mentioned. So, people, if someone thinks that this is like teaching and healthcare, these are the particularly two sectors where job satisfaction and we are doing it for I love the job, that's why I am doing it, is absolutely required. It may not be required for the other fields. Although I believe that every field, unless and until someone gets absorbed with the work, whatever he or she is doing, he cannot perform best. Now you see that job satisfaction, how it can bring. So job satisfaction, patient outcome. Patient outcome, so far I discussed about the patient outcomes. We can stop that dynamic workflow creation, can help us. So just now think that if I'm talking about some healthcare ICU innovation system, so you can now come out with some proposal that what we need to do. I mean, it is almost half an hour over, so 4 half-an-hour sessions are there. So you know that at the end of the sessions you have to answer 4 or 5 MCQs. So my first question would come, I'm giving the suggestions also. So first question will come that what would be the more challenges, what type of challenges can be addressed using by using AI in ICU.
The outcome related issues we can modify to AI related.
I think everything definition is not there because there some person from healthcare insurance sector, BFSI sector people are there. Whenever I'm delivering this talk to some BFSI people, they thought that some interesting thing will come. So again, every half an hour it's a time to speak it. Tell about a joke. It's my commitment. You appreciate it, sir. It's a time for me to give some recreation. You can take anytime. You can go anytime. But something I can tell is that I'm not trying to offend any medical practitioners, but I'm telling that this is something 80-20 rule. In 80% cases, what happens in Indian private hospitals. So one person who has earlier practiced in Indian, please don't want to correlate with anyone's name, okay? So someone was a medical practitioner who used to do some medical practice in some, this time I don't want to address the healthcare people. Let me address these people here. So he was somehow suspended for certain reason and he moved to Canada. In Canada, after going there, he didn't get initially he thought that, my job has done from the healthcare, so let me do some different type of work. So he got chance in one departmental store. And you know that in Canada, US, the departmental stores are also very high salaried professions. So, at the end of the day, the store manager called all the, all the person who are doing this selling. So, he asked that how many customers you serve. Someone told, 50, 60, 70, but that old Indian doctor who missed his license in India, he told, I serve one. Now ask that what is the revenue you have generated, means how many sale amount. He told my one is something like $50,000. But the others who served 500 customers, no one reached even maybe 2,000, 3,000. So he told that, how can one customer you serve with that many things? So his answer was that he came to buy some fishing rod. You know what is fishing rod? So in particularly US, Canada, or in Europe, people love to go for angling. So he came to buy some fishing rod. I told him that, sir, whenever you are going to fishing rod, you may not get it from the side. You should buy a boat also. He appreciated it. And then I told him that, sir, you may be, feel tired, so you should get a tent also. I took him to tent. He got it. And then I told that, sir, you should bring some beer and other, eatable items so that you can spend the time through the day. He agreed. They told us that so many things are there. Then how can you carry it? Your car is small one. Then I took him to some car and he booked a car also. So end of the day, the manager told, how can you do so many cross-selling in terms of retail? It's a known as cross-selling. What you did earlier, sir, I was a doctor in private hospital in India. So whenever someone comes with some, maybe some minor fever, I used to recommend him for the ECG, EEG, blah blah blah, all the type of tests. And then after that, this particular departmental store manager came to India to learn that how to recommend all these things. So it's a good half an hour break for all, because otherwise you may feel sleepy. So I'm not judging anyone's say this is something normal practice, not that everyone is doing, but it's normal practice and it's enough fact that many tests we need to do. So enhancing that's why the last point was the health insurance. So from health insurance sector, now a big question is coming, whether all the medicines are really required for this, whether all the tests are really required for that. And hospital managers can tell that sometimes some rejections are coming from the insurance, which somehow to be borne by the patient sometimes. Sometimes hospitals are also getting sued, but for that there is no control for the managers. Doctors and top level authority, they are doing all this nexus, and then bad almost requirement stored like doctors. So they are saying we need to know what it is. So overbilling and unnecessary tests, this is something, the point I have taken from the last time from the insurance sector, that this is happening. And another question sometimes come is that that why this test is given. I mean, anyone follows football? Please raise your hand if anyone follows football. Not very good. So I need not to give the example of football now. Yes. So now I'm coming that AI-driven patient monitoring systems. So now I'm coming that now mainly focusing on how AI can be. So first half an hour I set the context that why AI is needed. For that I given you the context that what is ICU, what are the present challenges, and what challenges should be recovered. Now I'm coming to that AI-driven patient monitoring systems. First one is that AI-driven system continuously analyze patient data to identify any anomalies, ensuring timely medical interventions. And some references also given here. I will come to the reference later. So, continuously analyze patient data to identify any abnormalities. So, one thing, I mean, in my earlier organization, I deal with one of the hospitals in Kolkata, possibly 4 weeks. So, for that, I can tell you one interesting incident that happened and that led to this project actually. So, some marathon happens, you know that all of our different big cities, the marathon happens. One marathon runner passed away in front of Science City. It was almost 10 years back. For that, immediately when he fainted out, he was taken to that particular hospital who was sponsor of this event. But later they realized that over exercising, some of he is a regular runner, still something happened. And that time it came to know about 2 things. One is the trachycardia and the pericardia. For the medical practitioners who are in the domain of medical, they know that what is trachycardia and what is pericardia. So he was a pericardiac person. Certainly fell below that level. So trachycardia means high heart rate and pericardia is the low heart rate. Normal rate is something like 60 to 80. But pericardiac people are something below 60. Though Usain Bolt's heart rate was 35, 30, something like that. So Michael Phelps is also nearly 40. These are outliers. But for healthy people, it should be in this range who are not like runner like Usain Bolt or swimmer like Michael Phelps. So AI-driven system continuously analyze patient data. So just think of now the ICU. Whenever someone enters into ICU, he is attached with that many sensors. What are those sensors? Normally are heart rate, mast, ECG, mast, and there is the blood pressure, and what else? That pulse oximeter. I'm just trying to remember all these things. And what else?
There is a 5-parameter monitor.
5-parameter. Can you please? What are those? Can you please?
It's all things. BP, pulse,
BP pulse oximeter.
oximeter, then temperature.
Temperature. So,
Vitals.
these are the 5 parameters. Yes. So for all these things, here something and something attached here, and all these things are monitored. Now, if out of these anything, how it is getting monitored? Something is coming on the screen, and what happens that if some alert comes, if some beep sound starts coming. That's why you are getting the alert. Is it really happens for the all ECG emergency bill to be given, then by the patient, insurance sector will tell you. If you are detecting it only the other parameters, why is it? So that's why I'm telling that ensuring timely medical interventions. So for that, I'll come to later the reference section. Real-time alert. Here, real-time alert to any concerning changes on the patient conditions. Exactly, it is already implemented in certain healthcare equipment nowadays. And third one is that the enhanced patient safety. Patient safety is absolutely referred to my work with the early detection. Yeah. So one is definitely the patient safety is that particularly the medical college incident never could happen if the early warning can be generated that temperature is rising that much. It is not there. The fact that it is not there, that's why two baby needs to be burned out. Similarly, number of such incidents are happening from other hospitals also, but for the government hospital media it is more high. That's why it becomes more prominent. So here, what we did means my work means I did something that for the early monitoring, we built one system possibly almost 11 years back. So from mobile phone, it can monitor the pulse rate and some blood pressure. So now it is a very common thing, very common thing. So from mobile phone, if it can detect very what I can say, very robustly or very confidently that it is the heart rate, it can give very early indications. So this is something required, particularly for the ICUs. But in ICUs, modern day equipments mostly have all these things. But think of something in the Jhargram. Just give Purulia, where nearest hospital will take, not the distance wise, I'm not taking maybe 30 kilometers, but it will take 2 hours to reach the patient. If similar such low cost devices powered by AI can be kept in the Panchayat office, like Kulera. So in the Panchayat office, if all these things can be taken, then this early detection can be done. Particularly, what we all know is, if not a very healthcare expert, we all know that the critical some 1 hour or some a few minutes is mentioned for the heart care. How many hours? 1 hour, no? Or 2 hours. So if it can be detected within that time, then only the patient can be saved. The golden hour possibly can be present. So think that where the nearest hospital itself is 2 hours away. So how can patient be taken to the nearest hospital? And then forget about it. And I'm really feeling very sorry that my own, our teacher Marsh, she passed away just because of that. Doctor referred to some hospital on the west coast. So, if you think that this is the conditions that we can monitor constantly, then it will help to reduce the death, particularly the rural areas. I see whenever we are thinking of some very, very lavish hospitals with lavish nowadays, because it's too much not affordable for the common people of India. So how can people afford that ICU services? So the computer science people, along with the healthcare, they know that what service to be given, whereas they know what is the technology. Why I am here? I am facilitating you to get the, connecting you to make some things for that ICU for a low cost devices. Maybe the electronics and electrical people can make this device better. The sensors and all these things you can make, which can be deployed in the rural areas. And I come to the future later. Yes. So predictive analytics for patient outcomes, leveraging the historical data. Historical data plays a very important role for any disease, along with the family history. For cancer also, I know that the doses are depending on something the historical data. If this dose, last time I came to some another seminar where some Apollos, some person came for relevant talk along with me in a panel discussion. So he was telling that even you know that if the overdose can kill the patient immediately. So this dose identification is absolutely challenging. So what is that? figure out one number. One number. So, if I ask that what is your hemoglobin level for Indians, most of the people will tell it's research. I mean, forgetting about the women's are much lesser. For Indian people, it is residing in the range of 10 to 12. Whereas, if you go to any pathological lab, it will show you that the minimum range is 30. Who told this number 30? From some British book it came. But it is now proved that absolutely it is genre specific and that you know that everyone is coming from some certain genes patterns are there. For our demographics who are staying in India is not the same like what the Arabics or who are staying in British. There are people. So far to the best of my knowledge no analysis is done at all which can evaluate across only Indians and finalize the benchmark what is really lower threshold for Indians. Unless and until that is done, what will happen that for me with 11.5 every time I will come as a low hemoglobin. But is it really required to take any medicine? That's just simply no. I'm quite healthy. And all of people, particularly women, I mean most of the Indian women are suffering not, I mean 11 is highest. So 9 to 11 they are range. So why this historical patient data? What is his pattern? Nowadays, whenever we are watching some TV, I mean nowadays everyone forgot to see TV, now web series. So whenever we are going to see some OTT platforms and web series, the advertisements are coming based on my choice. Whenever I am watching Shubman Gill declaring from Edgbaston, I am immediately getting the ad of Nike, not Adidas, because that t-shirt has a logo of Nike. On the other hand, whenever I am watching Fulera or something, I am getting some other advertisement. But for patients, we are still following the parameters, what is said by some British book, we are treating as a parameter. So, don't you think that the world of AI and personalization has shifted significantly? On the other hand, nothing has done for this particular area. Who told that the blood sugar limit is 120 or 100? Who told that BP limit should be 120 and 80? Whoever are working in IT professionals like me, with enormous pressure of delivery, or particularly the salesperson, what is their blood pressure normal tendency? Is it not normal for them? What is normal? So no one knows really what is normal. That is, I'm telling that leveraging the historical data is absolutely important. Using historical patient data helps in understanding trends and patterns, which is crucial for effective predictive analysis. One point I found. So for that, I was talking with a couple of doctors. So one of them was very popular in because of ABP another, Dr. Abhijit Chaudhary, who was in charge of that. You know that for the COVID time and gastroenterologist. I believe that he's like my uncle. We have a very good relationship, and in Bengal he came to me. Absolutely our relationship. So he was telling Tanushyam, whatever you do with your AI, it can never kill our job. What two doctors? I was saying, what do you mean by two doctors? The first thing what we do is that GC check. We are medical practitioners, you know that what is GC. Do you know what is GC? General condition. Whenever someone comes to some doctor, he sees how you are looking. For that, anyone with absolutely low in terms of every physical parameters, he or she is absolutely good in health. I can give you a number of examples. Weight is severely low, pressure is high, or hemoglobin is low, but still her physical condition, his general condition is very good. Because she is habituated with it. So that's why I'm telling that real-time data monitoring, the first one, that emerging historical data is important. Now coming to the next point, the real-time data monitoring. Real-time data monitoring allows healthcare providers to identify complications as they arise, ensuring timely interventions. So for that, the proposal was, for that proposal was that real-time monitoring, very big hospital setup cannot be done in rural areas. In panchayat area, panchayat office or anywhere, what we can do, we can keep some mobile phone or some minimal computing devices based on which we can generate the alert in real time. Means, suppose some patient comes, usually patient, there in this area, particularly female, women don't want to go to hospital because you can tell me anything, but because of still the societal structure in rural India, to be specific, or rural West Bengal also, that entire the home ministry is owned by the women. Entire home ministry. If some woman needs to be moved to some hospital, no one can eat that day and no other domestic work can be completed that day. I have highest figures for this because they are absolutely controlling these things. So they are not willing to go to hospitals in this area. Because if it is 2 hours going and 2 hours coming, the entire family will be, it cannot eat anything. There's hardly anyone who's there. And no domestic helps are also there. So for them, if we can make something that portable IC, that is the future, is the question. So what is portable IC? That all these equipments can be afforded with a cost of nearly per day 25 to 30,000 costs are there, isn't for ICU, even not more. But
It can be more.
but lower side is at 25 to 30,000. But so whose family income per month is 10,000, isn't it luxury for them? So whenever we are talking about innovating ICU using AI, one takeaway point from particularly computer science, healthcare and electronics cross-disciplinary research is that how can we make affordable, low-cost ICU for the rural people? And nowadays, because of Jio and Airtel, connectivity is there at least in all the villages. So only when some such situations occur, it can trigger messages to the particular doctor who needs to be there. Okay, so last point is that early identification of risks. Because here also that every disease gives some early indications. So just a few days back we left, the 1st July was there, possibly 1 week back only. So Vidhan Chandra Rai, clinical eye, he was known for his clinical eye. So why he was that much famous? Because without any test, because of his clinical observations, by seeing the pulse rate and everything, he could do all these things. Still in rural area, COVIDians are still there. What they do? Without any ICU, they try to identify that what is the pulse rate. Mumbai IIT is doing one research that if we can attach some sensor and we can replicate what people used to do in a very scientific manner, it can give the indication that what this is like. Like every 1 degree temperature from 98.4, it increases 10 in pulse rate. So if we can attach some sensor with help of electrical and electronics, which can sense the pulse rate, then actually this is done in the Chinese companies, they are doing it. But nothing is there in India. And Chinese are doing it tested on their particular journal. Means those type of people which were not used to, which can give wrong number for us. Why? I am giving a concrete example. One such system is there, which is known as the pulse oximeter and the blood pressure monitor. How it works that in a mobile phone you have to test your finger. How it works, do you know? It takes the redness of your finger. How the redness matters? Whenever our heart pumps, the redness also varies over time. And for that, I'm using some other stations no breaks are there.
Not an issue.
No breaks are there. So I can continue also. So if someone is sick, they can go for a break. I need to drink some water. start again? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, I missed that first item, right? So, now, why are we concluded? So, again, yeah. So, what we started from, again recapitulating because of the question. So, first one is that why ICU? What are the challenges in ICU? First half an hour. Second half an hour, that what we can do in ICU, and moreover that apart from that existing ICU, how can we extend to the rural places for the common people's healthcare arrangement. Now that we come, if I want to do all these things, what are the implementation challenges and some concerns we have to take care very seriously. First point is that importance of data privacy. If we do anything for healthcare, the first and foremost point is that data privacy. Now, I was seeing that you were taking serious notes, but I can share in WhatsApp. If you just bring me, the slide deck is with me. I mean, it's actually knowledge is free for me.
Sir, actually,
Okay, so got it. That is what is not written in the slide, that's what you're taking. Yeah. Oh, what is shared? Done. So, no, I always believe in free. I mean, knowledge is free. No one can basic the knowledge. So, first one is the importance of the data privacy. So, I mean, just particularly for one type of disease, I know that what is the AIDS. Data privacy is absolutely important. Because of the social scores. Earlier it was for the social leprosy. Now, even for certain diseases at the time of COVID, it was also social scar that time. Now it is not. Now it's like normal influenza. But because of these things, the privacy should be properly maintained. Even you know that for the patients who are having radiations for the cancer, they are also not sometimes should be allowed to come to the treatment, particularly for the pregnant women. It is fatal for the fetus inside.
for certain time.
Immediately after radiation. You take the radiation, it's something very dangerous. But what happens? That still now some people have to travel in trains. And they are surrounded by the common people. No one knows. So for that, data privacy is an important aspect, that patient's information is crucial to maintain trust between the healthcare providers and the patient of the age. So here, we are telling that we need to build a system. So whenever we are trying to build a system of AI starts with data. So for that we need data. Data can be provided to the hospital. But why hospitals are a bit scared to share the data? The only reason is that how to provide that anonymity and that data privacy. So whenever someone needs to share some patient data, it should be absolutely anonymized. Not only that, so that no reverse mapping can be also possible. Now you see, hospital records needs to be there. Is something that paradox is there. I am telling that historical data of a patient is required. For what? For his better treatment. What is his trend of illness? Now at the same time I am telling is mandatory to do anonymization. Whenever I am doing, I am losing it. So suppose I am the patient, my historical data is required for my better treatment. On the other hand, I would allow to save it in my name. So what is the way out? Something maybe XYZ is assigned with my name, and in some cases I can keep XYZ is equal to Mr. But still, if that test is compromised, everything is lost. So this is a big implementation challenge of AI in healthcare. Whenever I am telling that there are other fields that focus significantly, but healthcare is not, the major reason is that data anonymization and the privacy issue. Still people are struggling or finding ways. How can you, make this, what can say that, chicken and egg problem solved. Second, regularity compliance GDPR. Anyone aware of GDPR criteria? Sovereign clouds, all these things we've heard about. Sovereign, GDPR. GDPR something the European Union's rule is that no data should do. There's lots of criteria are there. DPR is the data policy requirement. So for that, there is a big challenge for doing all these things. I know some IT company try to do something, but because of some GDPR issue, they totally banned for giving services in the API. So if some company starts doing some business and they're using, so it's a big challenge.
General Data Protection Regulation.
Right.
It also apply for a social media management also.
Yes, but it can be bypassed, but for not for this. So I'm absolutely bad in remembering all this full names. I know GDPR, the data is there, I know that formula. Thank you, ma'am. And AI security risks, that is something I'm going to tell you a science fiction story now. Okay, so at what time I need to start about it? From 12 to 1, huh? I never read these things, trust me. So you will also read for the first time. I mean, this presentation will be so much interesting for you, but next part will be, that's why what I'll do actually continuity 50 and then managing. You know, this is a compliance criteria. This is the compliance criteria and that might be interesting criteria. So let's go for DLC, not for the compliance. So now what is the regulatory compliance and AF security is, right? Security. Now I'm going to take a science fiction story. Everything is ready. Everything is done. Some competing rival country, because of the war, you know that now we have seen the last war. Last war means that after post the Kashmir issue, whatever that. Is it like last Kargil war? Answer is no. Was there any involvement of BSF was there? Answer is no. For the Iran versus Israel, Russia, Ukraine, India, Pakistan has witnessed that the war front is going to the absolutely new direction. Suppose some our politically or geopolitically, not our, any geopolitically rival can act to the healthcare system and make some minor tweak on this AI. So what will happen? Patient will start dying down immediately. Say what is the alert should be generated, someone hack to the system and stop this alert generation. What may happen? Can you imagine? On the other hand, unless this data is available on internet, doctor cannot take action immediately. So far I started with that these are the challenges in ICU. The first 10 to 10:30, 10:30 to 11, I told you we can do so much things, but now I'm trying to that why people have not done so much. It's a big challenge nowadays to prevent it from the healthcare to the potential risks needs to manage. And I don't know whether you heard about the ransom virus or not. Heard about it? Mostly healthcare sector was affected by the ransomware. You know that what is ransom? Everyone knows about it? Ransomware virus? Please, we can discuss about it. If someone doesn't notice, tell me.
So moderately, they will attack and they will
Some virus comes to a computer system, then that they are claiming something ransom money. Unless you give, they will not remove the virus. So you think of the healthcare system, where some patient's life is in 1 minute can be done. So it was compromised. And particularly in UK, most of the healthcare sector was targeted on that. Because what we need, they are absolutely massive. So these are something, no biscuit, only coffee without sugar, I believe. Thank you. Just give it to me and take it. So I can complete. So this is something mandatory for me. So AI risk is that. So data privacy and security concerns. Do you have any question on that? Because definitely I try to save one question on this data security, privacy and security aspects. Is that in the signature? No rating for me. I want to complete the rating before this paper session. Otherwise I know that what to where it will go. So let's come to that integration with existing healthcare systems. So this is the fourth phase, is it? First, why ICU? Then ICU challenge anyone to come to this industry at all. They want to run the monopoly. That's why I am getting that some Chinese companies are also there. But no one wants anyone to penetrate in the market. So if we want to do something with our vision, means our group vision is that हम करके दिखाते हैं. I believe that everyone's seen the advertisement most popular from our group. पहले पंखा पहले बिजली. Have you seen it? You can search in YouTube that Adani Group's famous ad. Whether for our green energy that we advertise. So we believe in that. We believe in that make in India. We believe in that Indian products should be sold in India. Okay. So this is something that complex integration process is absolutely complex. So one system I can tell you, one very common problem that in pathological labs. In pathological labs, the reports are generated by some manual typing. Am I correct? But is it also not true that the numbers are visible in a screen, LED screen? Is also true, but still people are typing. So one solution we provided, not for this healthcare, but similar system is available in many of the manufacturing sectors. In manufacturing companies, what is happening now? What I'm trying to do now, I'm just removing the barrier between different domains. When Professor Sharkar was introducing me, he told that he worked on multiple domains. So my main core area of the healthcare, manufacturing, and the green energy is energy. These are utilities. These are my sector. So why I can successfully work on all these things, you know, that after doing some days work in any of the area, I realized that it is absolutely matching with the other domain. And that is the insight what I can say my experience gave me is that one. So now what I am telling that say there is a manufacturing process where the temperatures at which the nearly the steels are melted in 1500 degrees Celsius. They are monitoring the temperature. So they also cannot go there, but they are monitoring from screen is there. Now think that in a LED panel, similarly the temperature of a human body is also coming. For which what we are doing, someone is manually entering. No printout can be directly taken into the monitor. So suppose I am installing some camera, you can see the temperature of the pan as well as the particular panel. Then I can convert it to a automatically generated text. Very simple solution. It is known as the optical character recognition. It can try one thing. Whoever in the hospital get access to any such panel, or even in your home also you can see that everyone is using AC nowadays in their houses. Or maybe from your vehicle you can also see that what is the in your car or the scooty, what is the speed you can take it. Capture it into your mobile phone, you can capture the image. Then just pass it to Gemini or ChatGPT or anywhere and try to see what is the reading. You can see amazingly perfect reading it will be done. Perfect reading it will be done. So do we really need to type any more in the hospitals that whatever is shown in the display board? No. So first thing is that what I have mentioned, complex integration process is there, but how can you bypass it? That way I am telling you that you can make your own system which is read from that existing using an image, passing it to a generative AI, using your own. Now it is not cost effective. Why? We are making our own products, which is even cheaper than in terms of complexity, in terms of cost, than those ChatGPT and that Gemini. That's why we are making our system. Next one is the ensuring compatibility. Yes, compatibility issue I mentioned that. Compatibility is that we cannot project it there. And third one is the seamless data exchange. That is the most important factor. That how it can communicate seamlessly with the existing system. Right now, all healthcare equipment are absolutely expensive and maybe hundreds of codes. ICU equipment are hundreds of codes. data, but there is some alert, we need to push it back there. So some alerts are now generated based on pulse rate, based on heart monitoring, the heart rate and the blood pressure, BP and heart rate. Now, based on the ECG, you can search by my name, but that time I was in TCS, some ECG signal monitoring using mobile phone, all these papers I published quite long back. I don't want to take you through this here because in recent years, lots of other progresses will also done. ECG monitoring is now possible, but why it is not integrated? Because of this issue. So what we need to do for that, I asked that, is anyone from electrical electronics, how from those existing sensors and existing equipments, how seamlessly we can get the data, and we need to push it back there. So the system, that's why it's a good, what I can say, community, where electrical and electronics people can help me to get the data from those existing equipments. Then, I won't tell that electronics people cannot do, but it's ideally it should go to the computer science people to generate the model. And you can push it back to the system. Finally, the healthcare people will deploy it in their hospitals. So exactly this community is required to make our system. Unfortunately, in India, academia, I'm sorry to say, everyone works in silos. And that's why we are not progressing that much in comparison to the other countries. And even in industry, whenever we are trying to touch base to the, we have, two areas we may have, but academicians are not collaborating with us properly because they are thinking that we are thinking some sophisticated algorithm, whereas I am more interested. I told that I am a translational researcher. I don't need any sophisticated algorithm which can accurately give me 99.8% accuracy. Even if I can 95%, I can mitigate to that. But some academician who can develop the algorithm of the 96% easily is not collaborating. On the other side, healthcare people normally is seeing that if I can write that many prescriptions and I can nominate that for a kidney patient, if I can ask him to do something other than for the dental, it will be very good for me. So if everything works in silos, you cannot get the data. So here comes that the compatibility, seamless data exchange are the two important factors. And most important factor is that adoption for healthcare professionals, that I chase every time, that whether you are making something is really meaningful or really something only if it is adapted and used by the people. Say some nerds after joining, mostly they are coming in Kolkata, at least I know from the northeast. They have a strong language barrier. Northeast and Kerala, they are coming as nurses here. So they have a strong language barrier, whereas the common people of Bengal are normally speaking in Bengali. So there is a huge language barrier. Now, if I want, they have spent a huge amount of money for this course nowadays. You know, for the nursing training, how much cost it is nowadays? Almost nearly 1 crore. How much? For 4 years, how much it is now?
4 to 5 lakhs. 4 to 5 lakhs.
Is it true for all these Bangalore private institutions?
7 to 8 lakhs.
7 to 8 lakhs, okay. For the doctor's facilities are closed. For that, something courses, I know that for the ICU management, something for that this that terms I'm using it because of my IIM training now, that cultural diversity, resistance to change, all this adaptability. So you see here the importance of training. Adequate training is required, because whenever I am training that, say suppose just I have a hypothetical new system I am going to propose. What even in, I believe that here multiple people are there from this particular academic institute. Is it so? So you can try to one thing very easily, you can do even with your students, you can do one thing. Take a photo from using your mobile phone from any of the equipments and recognize what is the name. Make it two groups, one for digital numbers and one for the analogs. It's an interesting one. First, you can again there you can ask one group to use GenAI to generate it using maybe Google document, Google, or maybe something for that ChatGPT or OpenAI Llama 2. You can use. One set of it. Other set of people you can ask for the Llama 2 type of applications. I talked a lot about the medical terms. Now let me speak something about the AI part also. And third group, you can ask them to use normal OCR like Tesseract or Panel OCR. So whoever are working on this AI domain, you can use these things. Now you see that importance of training when you build this system and you say that from here by taking the photo you can also populate the table. Instead of going through all this, from different parameters, it is showing in the meter that what is my different levels, but still people are typing. So from this equipment I'm taking the image and the report generation is done. So for that, unless and until after making the system, I'm talking about how to make the system. Now after making the system, unless and until you do the training, people cannot use. Second one is the overcoming the resistance of hope. And I have written it in the slide. Overcome resistance. It is there in the slide also. So addressing the resistance to change, she can tell it better, particularly for the AI successful integration of the AI technologies. Once AI is integrated, how to make the change and successful implementation, proper adaptation is needed. Adaptation and training lead to successful implementation of AI tools in healthcare. So for existing tools, whatever are there, I am making some changes there, and after this change, only I can say that it is working properly. Means when people start using it. Now the last half, I am coming to the case studies and the success stories. So certain implementations are already in place. I am not taking any reference directly, just it is something like that different hospitals and different manufacturers done it. What I did here is a summation of all these things together. So first of all is that here the AI patient monitoring. The integration of the AI for the ICU as remote patient monitoring, enabling real-time data analysis and alert. Certain such systems are already there. But for that, buying the new equipment, you have to throw away this 300 to earlier equipment. This is the challenge. That's why I don't believe that it is there, but it is good for developed countries. For our countries, developing countries, it should be like that we should try to make some delta part along with our existing infrastructure so that we can get the same purpose. Next, enhance clinical workflow. AI implementation streamline clinical workflow. Can we do some practical now? I always love to do some hands-on training. Anyone wants to volunteer for some practical online course? What all you need is your mobile phone where internet connectivity is there. Can you do? Are you ready to do some hands-on training? Because unless and until that, madam, I am putting you, that resistance to change is there. I know. Even after my talk is over, hardly anyone who are not from AI background loves to use AI in their daily life. Now, go to Play Store and download Gemini. Gemini. Very quick, interesting example I can give. No, Gemini as an app is there with you. Just go to Play Store and download Gemini. I will tell you the success story after let's do some quick, hands-on training. Okay. So how we can use AI in our daily life to avoid IC? That is also different. So I'll tell you the success story after that. So numbers I will also take. So just you can see here the planning is there. Can you see some options are there for the planning? Just show me. Anyone can help you plan is plan. So everyone got it? Help me plan. Help me plan. So help me plan. Everyone is there? Yes. Now what to do? Just write. Make a diet chart for me to reduce that much weight. Everyone wants to reduce some weight for sure. I know. You can write that this is my gender, I'm not gender. That's why it is personalized. You can write this is my weight, this is my age, height, weight and gender. These four things we enter. My height is that, weight is that, gender is that and age is that. We just enter these four. And then type that make a proper diet plan for me. কি বলছো? আমি পরে gender age gender. And then write make a proper diet plan for me. Gemini helps me to reduce 7 kg in 6 months. Is fact. I followed just this instruction. What is that? If someone is make a diet chart for me. Anything you can write, script it as per your own. You see, you need to give any proper. You give it. So you can try something that says, suppose you want to share with, someone who doesn't understand English. Can you please convert it to Bengali? Type it, take it. Or make it Bengali menu for me. Like initially give me something where I have seen that no fish is there, no rice was there. So I could
height, weight, gender, age.
I can convert it to Bengali, Hindi, any language. Or you can make it that, say someone is vegetarian. You can write, make only vegetarian plant-based. Or, I have given, make me only plan for only fish. Like I give it only fish, I don't like fish. So make a plan with fish only. Anything, whatever you want, you can make a plan. Yes. And it helps me to reduce 7 kgs. You can imagine how much. Really, I lost 76.5 to right now 69.3 kgs in just 6 months. Just first we started from absolutely nice. Absolutely no effort. Later what I did, some of my friends are also doctors. I told them that can I follow it? Anybody else can go for it. But you can give me some. Give me. Give it here. I have blood pressure. I have given the intermediate first class. Now it is too much pressure. Too much pressure. You are in hospital, so you can consult any of your best dietitian, any of your best dietitian. I can challenge you that no best dietitian of your hospital cannot have it. And make it in Bengali language. Means Bengali, you can give option like Bengali, like you will give him the Bengali like menu. You will give chira. You will, instead of flaxseed, they will give you that something for the corresponding for the flaxseed and chia seed. So normally any dietitian will give the chia seed and flaxseed. You can customize it to as per your own needs. Means as per your own habit. Too much personalization possible. So that is something. I mean, hands-on session is over now. So unless and yes, it's a hands-on session really, because it is avoiding you to go to hospital. Now let me come for that word. And interestingly, I found really some resistance that is it according to doctor, will it have any adverse effect? These are the changes. We have to come out with it. Exactly, I was looking for this. I mean, what I can say that the risk is to change this. So here the patient outcomes and improvements. Here I am coming that reduced length of stay. The main outcome is that reduced stay in ICU. Who are getting benefit out of here? Who are the stakeholders? Means whenever you are doing something, you have to ask that who are the business who will be benefited by this service. Who will be benefited? Anyone else? Anyone else?
Hospital too.
Anyone else? Patient family is patient party. Patient and patient party, hospital.
Insurance.
Exactly. I mentioned, that's why you missed this question in my MCQ question. I have shown all this in the slide. It's the open book test. Because how everyone is getting benefited. That's very interesting. Why hospital is getting benefited? Any justification? Exactly. Because maybe some more critical patient comes, if it can remove this existing patient from there, you can take more critical patients and you can have better, and it will improve their well-being. That's the most important factor, is that I can recover, I mean, that many patients got recovered from our hospital, from ICU in that many days. And soon this will become a KPI. I don't know whether you know KPI, key performance indicators. Yes, indicators. I can tell all these things, but the full form is horribly bad. So KPI of the hospital is that I mean how much, and the patient satisfaction is another KPI for the hospitals. If someone's with a less cost recovered early, it's absolutely good factor for that hospital cost. Second one.
Dr. Chattopadhyay, I have just one more thing I think, but you will tell. If you see on the business angle for a hospital also, longer stay for a patient actually is still decreasing the revenue.
Yes,
the
definitely.
of the test.
Absolutely.
So if
more patient they can take to the ICU, it will be more benefit for them. Profit margin. Yes, absolutely. Fewer adverse effects. That is implicit that the adverse effect is that from ICU to, I mentioned that from ICU patient can go to business. ICU to ventilation can be reduced. And enhanced recovery rates. That recovery rates means that other way. First one is that, what I can say, I listed all the points like this. That first one is that I told you the story. ICU, then ICU to either ventilation or general care. So first I mentioned that the length of stay from ICU to directly out. Second one, ICU to reduced, ventilation reduced, and quickly they can come to the general care. Now here comes the big challenge for the AI community, which is yet to be solved. I mentioned one thing, that please remember the fact that whenever one is ICU, he is or she is under so many monitoring, 5 parameter, 6 parameter monitoring. On the other hand, whenever he is coming to the general bay, no such sensors are anymore attached to him. But the chance of getting deterioration is where high? Normal bed or general bed? General bed or ICU? General bed. So, just take the example. Say suppose I have, this is an open AI problem for the Computer Science Society, and for that possibly someone has noticed or not, I don't know, there is a mention that referred to Benchio. One point was there. So in the Benchio, is the Turing Award winner in 2018. Turing Award is known as the Nobel Prize in the field of computer science, and Benchio, Hinton, along with Ian Lecker, they are known as the father of deep learning or the modern AI. Okay. So just for the other people who are not from the computer, let me give the context. So Benchio is writing the challenge of machine learning is the machine learning with missing data. So you see that whenever the patient is in general bed, the data is no more available. What we have that time, out of the 6 parameters, maybe we have only BP or only heart rate we have. It's a big challenge now. Can we generate ECG from only these parameters? Or, like the alert generated in ICU, with this minimum number of sensors, can you generate similar type of things? At least whenever the patient's condition deteriorated, so that immediately we can raise the alert and transfer it to the ICU. So if you, whoever studying deep learning, AI, machine learning, I suggest them to go to reference of the book Deep Learning by Ian Goodfellow, Joshua Bengio, chapter 5, where after Mitchell's definition is written that task, performance, metric and experience. After that, one of the tasks, possibly third or fourth task is the machine learning with missing data. Go there and the details.
Right, sir. The way you said, it seems that the entire thing is in your head.
Yes, I can see it. And I very proudly say that he handed over this book to me in 2015 soft copy, and he asked me to correct if any mistakes are there. And I directly taken his class in 2015. That time he didn't get Turing Award. So even if someone send me WhatsApp message, I very proudly say that right now my image with the person, he got Turing Award this year, and I met him 2018. So like you are meeting me today, so maybe 7 years after you can get the Turing Award. I tell you, whoever I ensured you that you never feel bored, so others people should be also.
No, for people like us who, sir will relate to Vashish sir, that for people like us who work on deep learning, like the main book that we always follow is, or any
Only book.
reference, only book, always.
I also all the slides for the deep learning, machine learning are all taken from there. And it is adoption on my experience on that book, how I use it. Nothing else, this is the only book. I had a lunch with Goodfellow also. Very nice experience in Montreal.
Exactly. Very fortunate.
Yes, truly. So now, lessons learned and best practices. So, stakeholder engagement. Effective AI integration in ICU requires active participation and collaboration among all stakeholders, including healthcare professionals and IT specialists. So here I mentioned that this is something I have written, but later I added one more term, is the electronics group, who are mainly developing the sensors. Second one, continuous evaluation. That's the most important thing. Before making it anything in the production grade, we need to monitor it. Means how good it is really doing. So right now we have some existing system. I am trying to do some enhancement on top of it. So whenever I am doing some enhancement on top of it, is it really serving my purpose? That constant monitoring is required. And I always prefer that iterative improvements, that adapting to iterative approach allows for continuous improvement I can give you one good example. That people are asked to capture image using mobile phone. Now, while capturing the mobile, they are not keeping. I mean, I asked them to say capture one image. I can still remember the story that one day, I mean, my driver was absent. I need to take a driver from some cab center, driver center. So I asked him to share his Aadhaar card details as the photos. He took it as a selfie mode. And exactly that is happening whenever I am asking some person, yes, my solution is now in production for the smart meters. Wherever the smart meters are getting deployed, my 6 crore to be installed in India out of 10 crore, where my product is being used for capturing whether the meter is installed properly or not. So there people are not capturing the image properly. So that's why I got 3 calls. So this is very absolutely required that I am telling that I have made a mobile application and sent it to the panchayat. But who is capturing the image? Is the fingerprint properly? You cannot. This is not in your control anymore. For that, you may need to raise some, on top of it, you need to make some, what I can say, add-ons. Add-on to restrict something that how to use it. Just one example I can give that there was a toy train. So for that, enhancing their health. So what people started to do, particularly from one geography, they started to capture instead of rotating the camera. In the selfie mode, they started to capture keyboards, shoes, jeans, anything they started to, instead of metering images, they started sharing. So these corrections laterally prove that if this type of image are coming, we are recognizing on the fly in the mobile application itself and telling them you cannot upload this image. So proper finger placement on top of it, unless it is deployed in the real field, you cannot understand what it is. So with this, I am coming to the last part, the ethical considerations. And these are something futuristic. 2 slides are there, 2 more. After that, I will take question answer and then go for. I mean, some people came to ask me question. I cannot see who. Oh, you are there. Yeah, sorry. I mean, I'll take the question answer for sure. 10-15 minutes. Okay. Because it's still now it's monologue almost. So now I'm coming to the potential advancement in AI for ICU. First one is the personalized medicine algorithms. So absolutely required. When I was talking that some couple of people first came to know about it. And this is required that based on the history and the patient's record, the dose to be identified. So that is the task of a medical practitioner doctor who can identify it. But for him also, unless and until he can get a gist of the history, very difficult to take on the fly, because till now, doctor to patient ratio, rather than patient to doctor ratio, one doctor needs to serve almost 100 cancer patients for the oncologist. So for each of them, if someone needs to go through all the details of that historical, clinical historical records, I can say that difficult, I cannot say it's impossible. Isn't it? So based on this, if we can recommend something that this is the synopsis of this history, it helps the person to take the decision. I am strongly against as an individual. Earlier I used to make it open, but nowadays I very boldly say, as an individual, I am very strongly against to use decision-making system using AI. It should be decision support system. Final decision to be taken by doctor. But how it benefits? Because if one doctor needs to read all the reports thoroughly, his last 10 years or 5 years record, it's not possible he to serve all the 100 patients. But if he can save his time 10x there by using AI, it is a decision support system. So personalized medicine algorithm, advanced AI will lead to improved algorithm. Here, I can recommend him based on these histories. I am recommending these 3 medicines along with these doses. It will help doctor to quickly conclude that what should be that thing. Instead of, finding the needle in the mistake of, so it's very difficult for him to find that. early identification, several times I speak about it, I'm not going to that early identification. So one of them, the challenges I mentioned, that whenever the patient is in, not in ICU, particularly in general bed, based on that sensor whatever is available, based on that if he can generate the alert that he is going to critical, that is the most demand of the need, the time. Because in ICU monitors are already there. When not that many data is there, with number of missing data, how can you do it? Third one is the robotic assistance. Now robotic surgeries are always happening. Where it is required? Robotic surgery is again the other way. I believe that you are aware of the term the symbiotic trust. So here something that I believe symbiotic AI. So here I believe that robotic surgery is required in certain particularly microsurgery. Why? Yes, precision. But robot can guide the human being also. Why not human? Why only robot? Because handshake. Robot is absolutely far. Whenever some human being is there, though he is very expert, but still because being a human being, if after surgery, if he or she sees something that what is not as per his anticipation, he get tensed. But robot never get tensed. That's why in certain cases, where too much precision is required, that time it is required to be done by robot. But in presence of human being, so that it cannot do something adverse, humans should control the robot that time. So far I was mentioning that AI is guiding human. Now I am telling this should be a system where humans should guide the AI to take the precision. He can mention it should go to the 5.35 degree angle. It should be set by doctor. But human, as a human being, he may need to, instead of 5.35, he can need to 5.4 or 5.2. But robot will not. He will absolutely go to the particular direction. So robotic assistance in patient care is something, and this is my last slide, that ethical dilemmas and considerations, accountability in AI, the big question lies there. I know I can still remember some doctors were sued because of some, taking the accountability that he has not taken care properly the patient. The patient dies because of this. Forgetting about all this, every day possibly some government hospitals, some miscreants are coming and patient parties are breaking the hospitals. So this is very common fact. So now, whom to be beaten by those people if the patient dies because of AI? The same question I tell that always I love to vary of the domains. Say autonomous drivers, autonomous vehicles, Google vehicle, and Elon Musk is that car. You know that autonomous vehicle is coming. Say suppose some driver makes an accident, driver license is getting seized. Now suppose some autonomous vehicle makes an accident. Is it the company Elon Musk will be sued, or should the PK be should, or the person who developed the algorithm, he will say no, there was a bug in the testing team didn't find it, or then they will say nothing. While equating the hardware problem work, they will say no, actually I generated the alert also, but the brake didn't work that time. Even it works nowadays also, that driver tries to make the brake, but the brake didn't work. Still the driver is getting penalized. For healthcare cases, that situation happened. Who will be taking responsibility? This is not solved, and unless and until it is solved, I pray that it will never solve. Otherwise, DMS will come soon. I don't like DMS to be there in healthcare. It should be still in the DSS. This is a support system. Second one, bias in AI systems. Very unfair treatment and discrimination. Suppose some system is developed in US where it is properly trained on the historical data of the, you know that like I know that the average weight, have you ever noticed that, everyone comes to this road using elevator, am I correct? So, not elevator, okay, you have not used. So, I definitely, madam, definitely you used elevator forever in your life. Sure.
Most of the time.
Definitely not today, but you have used elevator. So, have you ever noticed that, what is the average weight considered in elevator for Indians? For a capacity of 8 people? 56, okay. Any other question answer? 600? 68, bang on touch. For Indians, it is for all, OPs, what are the other companies for making? Everywhere is 68 kg. But for Australia, average weight is 80 kg. Suppose some lift is trained on Indian system and delivered in Australia, where average weight is 80 kg, under the basic physics, that Young's modulus, the brake stress versus strain, so it will, the rope cannot hold it. So this is the biggest problem, and the same problem I am suffering every time I am going to any pathological test with my hemoglobin level. It can never reach 11.5 to 12, and they are telling every time I am below normal, and if I go to some private a hospital doctor, they are telling it's very serious, you should take some medicines immediately, whereas whenever I am going to some government hospital doctor, they are telling you it is quite high, you can quite safe, you can live your normal life. So that thing is the bias factor. And I am again telling with mathematics that all machine learning algorithms are based on the basic assumption IID, independent and identically distributed. So, I'm not explaining the mathematical term, that if it is not identically distributed, say suppose I am training my systems on all the images of a cat near about me, and then I take it, a system to some Germany and try to find the German Shepherd whom I know as Alsatian. So to identify that what breed of cat it is, the problem is same. Can you recognize? The system who never shows any dog's image at all, and I show him as Alsatian dog's image and ask that what breed of cat it is, the same problem will come. Like I told you, that for that system we trained on the Chinese people, when it's shown to the African, it didn't work. So this bias, the bias in AI systems is a dangerous thing. So ethical dilemma is there. And last one is the patient consent considerations. Patient consent is that my physiological parameters is my data. No hospital can save it also. Though someone saves it, even in government hospitals, ideally it should be signed by the patient that I am willing to give it for research purpose. But tomorrow if some company like me comes and doing some joint venture with this hospital and they are using my data I stopped even before that slide, but now with my maturity and real experience in the product, I realize this is absolutely required. Technology enhances care delivery, but should complement rather than replace personal interactions. Again, in a country like India, unemployment, joblessness is a big problem. With the last 3-4 years of AI, I'm really scared where AI is going. It's not only my concern. I mentioned about another my guru, Geoffrey Hinton, who also got the Turing Award in the same year, and eventually I also have a selfie with him also. So in 2018 I met him. So he mentioned that AI is going to a direction where unemployment may occur. He left some organization just because of that. He don't want AI to go to this direction. Now these letters of Hinton and all the people are becoming like the same letter what was written by Albert Einstein to US president, who was remained unopened till the little boy happened in the month of August only, almost exactly 80 years back. So same thing, AI may go to that direction. That's why I'm saying that technology enhances care delivery, but should complement rather than replace personal interactions between healthcare providers and patient. So, do you like, just directly questioning, that hospital management people should be replaced by AI? Answer is no. Can they give that the first point? Emotional? No. Patient part is really scared, really tense. If someone comes and explains something with a proper, very polite message, on the other hand, sympathy can be expressed with your eyes, with a gesture. That cannot be expressed. So this is a very important factor.
Sir, as far as I know, in America, in USA, some of the robotic assistants was made with the emotional attachment by doing some neural network.
Yes, this is emotional things are there, but people cannot feel by this emotion. Even hotels, in US hotel I have also seen. Some robot came and handed over me the key to me. The reason is very absolutely geopolitical. I can discuss a bit in this rainy morning. Geopolitical situation is that no white people like that. They don't want to see this brown people in front of them working this type of work. That's why they try to bring this here. Particularly in the Trump setup. His commitment was that. So it's absolutely you think the geopolitical, that's why robot is there. But when the people is really like it. Question comes here that the emotion is absolutely, if I ask some really, you have done some hands-on session. So if I ask that many questions to a nutritionist, trust me, he will slap me. Whatever the questions I asked, he or she will slap me truly that I can't make it for you. That is something where emotional thing is required. On the other hand, whenever someone, I'm trying to make some plan for my diet. But whenever someone is really depressed, is coming something for something consolation. It can give you so many things, you can utter it. It can, even that Google Duplex, what presentation was done by Sundar Pichai, it can give you very nice speech, it can generate. But that gesture, that touch, is not possible. If someone holds your hand, that is robot cannot. That one thing cannot. That's why, according to Hinton and some other scientists, I don't want robot to write a poem for me, rather let it do clean my utensils, clean my clothes. On the other hand, nowadays, I am washing my clothes and my utensils, and robot is writing, the AI is writing the poem for me. So that is the dilemma coming in the AI community now. What to be done, what not to be done. That's why I'm saying this is very important aspect that, it's there, sorry. The last part, it answer was there. The last part was the empathy and compassion. Emotion it can give, but empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is something human that is actually required. So you can conclude that ICU automation is required to give better health care, to faster recovery, to move more patients out out of danger, but not replacing any human staff, rather upskilling them to apply these technologies first. So with this, I'm concluding my session. I'm not willing to go for this last part anymore, the introduction to the AI in healthcare. I can stop here. I mean, somehow it came to my mind, you know that it is a 4-hour sessions. That's why I thought that next 2 hours will be like this. So exactly at half point I stopped here. So let me make the floor open for any question and answer. This is my very favorite. Conclusion side, like I can give. This is catchline of our organization. So I usually complete it that if we work as a team, Sunday हम करके दिखाते हैं. मुश्किलों से रुकना नहीं, हम करके दिखाते हैं. That's the tagline of our society. And I believe that we can do it. We can make it. Any question, please?
Sir, so you have mentioned that there is some existing system like BP monitoring and all these systems, sensor systems. So which we can make these enable with IoT or robotics, which can take data from this existing system and store it in cloud or database for AI or machine training. So in this field, there is some problem in existing system, we can't get the sensor which is absolutely in China or in these countries, not manufactured in India, and this price is high to import it in quantity like 1 or 2 sensors. So that's why the research oriented in these things is maybe bigger, yes, costly. Yeah. So for this, what we can do?
First of all, the concept of sovereign cloud I touched, but I did discuss. Sovereign cloud is absolutely required for daily. Whenever you are talking that about you are uploading it in the Databricks or GCP Amazon, it will not work. First of all, your data, who gives you the assurance that data of the Indian patients is residing within the geography of India or not? Whenever you are uploading in the cloud, first thing is that it is going, it may go to the outside India. In Middle East, in Europe, it's very strict. Anyone will shoot immediately. So why we can allow our data to go outside the geography of India? Sovereign cloud is not there so far still now. Second challenge, whenever we are getting the data, most of the data are stolen data. You have to first ensure that it's a very risky thing, whatever you are doing. If it is not showing that that patient has given his or her consent to allow the data for research, you cannot use it. What you can do, you can make your own lab here, you can take a proper permission and you can capture data from there. Now for those sensors, Omron-like sensors, Omron-like systems, whatever is used mostly, another I'm forgetting the name, Omron, another some Indian companies are K with K, I'm forgetting his name. So they are developing something, nothing from the India, they are assembling it in India but brought from China. So first thing we should do for doing a research is that instead of doing all these things later, we have to first focus on developing our own sensors. Unless that is done, unless we have our own lab, we cannot do anything. It's a very risky thing, whatever.
Yes, sir. For developing sensor, one of my friend is developing the the blood glucose sensor.
From tears?
Yeah, non-enhancing.
That's from tears and others.
Sensor, IR sensor.
From IR sensor, there are two such systems are there for blood glucose monitoring, non-invasive, without pricking. One is that from sweat, another from the teardrop. I don't know what.
No, it is directly sensing the blood.
From the blood directly.
Yes.
Okay. Some I know that's polarization is effect or something. They are doing something. Yes.
So for this, IR reflection, the sensor captured the IR length.
I don't know.
So but the system overall is bulky, like there is many things to carry with this sensor.
What
So
that first of all, that I mean, what is the, how many patients it has been tested? Unless it is tested over millions of patients, no one will come to reduce the volume. What is the accuracy of it? Of millions of patients, of different demographics.
how to measure with patient, because they are testing with glucose, like sorbet
That's what
mixture.
it's to be tested on the ground truth that its idea is to be placed with a, they need to make some stalls in some pathological centers where pathological, they have to do some collaboration pathological labs where pathological test is every day people are coming for blood, blood glucose test, okay, BP and fasting. So they have to take the measure, and what is coming in the existing, they have to make a benchmarking against it. Otherwise, it is absolutely useless. That's something that academic research are going to the wrong directions. Unless and until that is done, no one will trust it.
Actually, they stop working after publishing the paper.
That's the telling.
So
I don't use the term that publication is the ultimate holy Bible for
yes,
them.
so I have also.
And they're getting the promotion just because of that.
Yes.
So unless that is stopped, see, that is government policy. I cannot criticize it standing here in a government funded organization program. So the problem is there that the policy itself is wrong. If they are getting funded right from some agency who try to make these systems, you see that the research will go in the right direction. Publication, that's why I stopped publication in 2018. After 70, I realized that publication is going to the wrong direction. It's just some number game. So if one really wants to do it, I recommend always to give this task to your interns, or sorry, the BTech and MTech students. They can make it much better system. They're absolutely curious to do. They know the recent state of that much better than any of us. Trust me, that's the fact. They can do it. So what is the next session? Oh, any question?
No, it's not question. From
Suggestion?
dilemma, I want to discuss at some point with you.
Sure. Just 1 minute. For this session, what to do? Actually, I have never done this paper go-through session. So, shall I ask them that to pure বুঝে পড়ো? Okay. Okay, let me do one thing quickly. Then again, using AI, let me do it. Go to the introduction session, copy it, and just it is a mobile test.
So we all aware the advantage of AI in healthcare, no doubt. But you have also some
Implementation challenges.
So you are in favor of AI, but you mentioned balancing is required. From my side, I also want AI, but balancing is required.
Yes, sir.
Who will assure? In India,
Not in India, in the world particularly, the problem is in there.
yeah, in India, in medical field, there is no regulation in medical
Yes, that's a challenge. I told that
Still
in
2017, Sirius was received. So, and you are mentioning bias. It is already there. In case of everywhere, whatever the data, it all is either from European or
Korean, lots of there are
yes,
China.
it is implemented in our
India, yes.
India. So why not AI, if it is used this European data or Korean data, why not accept? But we need obviously Indian data. But until unless some government initiative.
Why we are not taking it? Why I am telling is not trustworthy. The reason is that the parameters of India may vary because of the genetic variation. So,
but it is in practicing.
absolutely I am telling that unless and until India is available, you have to use it.
USA or European country implemented to here.
Fully agree, sir. So that is something I am telling. Unless and until it is Indian, some genesis is there, still then you have to rely on it. But at the same time, telling it's a biased one. It's not that it's not the right one, but we have to use. See, I can tell you that when I don't have any refrigerator in my home, I used to that মাটির কুঁজো বাংলায় সবাই ইউজ করেছি আমরা। But after refrigerator, we used to cold water using this. So it's something like কুঁজো for us. ঠান্ডা তো হচ্ছে, কিছু টাকা তো পাচ্ছি। It's something like that only.
And as well as for biopsy, this all AI which are used in healthcare, it is from the medicine. And whatever the scenario in India, most of the institutions, healthcare institutions, they use the oldest machine, aged machine. So previously the sensor, the data we provide not proper, and based on that,
That is still better. Even improper data is much
this
better than
thing
nothing.
is already there.
That's what I'm telling, that whatever the machines we have, we cannot throw them away. This is the, the scenario. But that's why I'm suggesting him also. Parallelly, we need to deploy two machines together. If some 6 sensors are used, why can't 7 sensors be used? Let's try on it first. Let's see that how much deficiency is there. Before that, we cannot deploy something.
Can I add?
Sure.
Can I?
Sure.
So as per the government of India, they have some regulations. This is like NABH.
Everything is there. But these institutions follow only during accreditation. They are going for calibration and showing the certification. That is the problem.
But that's
right.
Yes.
And see for our institution also, what we follow. Are we following OB parameters accurately? But only to showing the apex body, we are preparing some data and showing them.
Not like for all.
Biasing is everywhere.
So can I ask one question?
Sure.
So I have a query that in case of code blue patient, in case of code blue patient, can the data of, in case of emergency, basically code blue is a state of emergency. So can the diagnosis or the reliability of AI be counted there in case of code blue? Because we need fast response.
For that, when you see that situation, the patient arrived at a time when other than that, ouster no proper is available. Then you have to rely on the patient. Something better than that.
Maybe the patient is already admitted. Yeah.
Even if admitted, he is under treatment, it's preferable to call the doctor immediately. Who is under treatment, who is treating him or her, to get that advice. But if it's a new patient is coming under the situation who needs to be admitted, but he knows the situation, that if it's a really, there is only option is available, we don't have to polish that much. That's why you can rely on AI for that, taking the quick decision. If the patient dies, what will you have to teach? Better than something, sometimes it is system.
Because I don't, I'm not sure that in case of code blue or patients is reliable.
That is something, I'm not telling research, I'm telling that we have, that's getting the issue of this best balancing. That if doctor is available, we should not trust him. If doctor is not available,
Patient is not an emergency.
emergency, we need to start treatment on time. Before the doctor comes, we can start some treatment. Otherwise, see this few hours only.
So, in that 60 minutes time, the data might not have the data of the patient, the history of the patient, family background of the patient.
Yes, that is something I'm based that this is based on the absolute there is a assuming every case is coming at hospital is one that is absolute. Then only not for that someone comes doctor. If historical report or the previous treatment data is available, there is miscommunication. Yes. Is it possible to ask the question louder so that others can understand? you know that because the baby piano is very popular, AI generated images are created over mobile. I'm not taking it for here, please don't take it for stand, but it's fact that AI is generating some images. So now you see that this ECG is nothing but an AI generated image. ECG is nothing but an image. Agree? It's a graph, it's an image. Now it is an AI generated image. So from here the input is coming regularly from this parameters. From that this parameter program.
Now, because ECG's graph, whatever it is showing, it's actually the impulse, the repolarization and the repolarization of the heart. So I was asking how they can, the machine can
Yes,
detect.
so from we are first trying to correlation like that, say, I can say that if it is cloudy, then it will rain. If it rains, then it will be very much, I say that road condition will be absolutely traffic jam will come. Similarly, using different layers of computation, like huge amount of data, that's why I scale that, I mean, at least, I mean, millions of data is required. From there, they try to find if there is any correlation between them. And it cannot be established. Say, just for example, I can say some uncorrelated data, but it is showing very interesting pattern in people have found that number of ice cream is correlated with how many people death by drowning in the water. Apple export is correlated with divorce rate. Meaning, so two things. First, correlation should be there. Second, meaning should be there. That's why I'm telling that correlation to be identified, I indicate that it says absolutely cross-domain task. So what it is that for correlation, what we want, for finding the correlation with the mathematician and the computer scientist, and for finding the establishment, the meaningfulness of it, medical professionals. That's why I'm telling, and again, why electrical electronics people are different, because whether what we are sensing, this is correct. They can give me these things. So it's absolutely cross-domain. Apart from that, I would also strongly believe that social entities, sociologists must be also into, because they can find social impact of it. Other than that, everything is meaningless. That's why I was telling, I mean, professor has left, so that if anything is done in silos, nothing can be used, only papers have been published and done. No real product can come out. Even from IITs, in IITs, how many products came out? Delhi IIT came up with critical. Critical is something that they are startup. It's good. But how many startups really came out from IIT to Kanpur?
Sir, you mentioned that giving a patient data, there should be a consent. Normally we don't give consent like this. So how the electronic health record is developing? What is the basis of it?
Certain hospitals are there, at least I know where people have to give consent that my data can be used for academic research purpose. My wife is suffering from rare genetic disease. So for that, I mean, I have to sign on behalf of her. And that data can be used for further research. So similarly, some hospitals are using it. It's a case scale.
Sir, I think whenever we are getting admitted, all hospitals have the consent forms which they get
Where people unknowingly sign over there.
So without consent, we can't do any kind of procedure as per Indian process.
So this is something, madam, I can say this, madam, I mean, you are also, madam, please don't, I mean, mind it. So it is something like that, you know, that consent what is signed in the hospital is something like my argument with my wife. Every time I say yes, I agree. So do I know unknowingly something like that? Similar to like my argument with my wife, I believe that all people, I mean, male people are supporting me. Argument with wife is something like that. Signing the medical consent form is agreement with my wife. We have to agree. So, last, that I mean, Tanushyam. So, there is a paper I have to, I mean, any questions, any discussions? So, the paper title was that, the review article, the prospect of artificial intelligence in personalized assisted reproductive technology, read-made digit. I can give you homework also. You already downloaded Gemini. So you can copy the introduction section from here and paste it there and ask it to summarize. So it's a literally great summary. You are smiling, but now let me very seriously take me through. I'm not joking this time. Because AAAI is the community where all the AI research is happening, publications are happening. And nowadays, lots of conference papers are getting published, already get published, which is generated by AI. No real data is there, nothing. So infertility affects 1 in 6 couples with repeated, again, it's published from maybe from somewhere, outside India. So that number again, I was talking with you, this number is, no, from SADAS level. So with whom I was arguing that the numbers are very, infertility affects 1 in 6 and 16% couples in India is not a fact. So with repeated intensive cycles of assisted reproductive technology, ERT, required by many to achieve a desired life path. In ERT, typically, clinicians and laboratory staff consider patient characteristics, previous treatment responses, and ongoing monitoring to determine treatment decisions. I mentioned about that historical data is absolutely required, and particularly for the infertility, again, that historical data is very important here. However, the reproducibility, weighting, and interpretation of these characteristics are contentious and highly operator dependent, resulting in considerable reliance on clinical experiences. Artificial intelligence is ideally studied to handle, process, and analyze large dynamic temporal datasets with multiple intermediary outcomes that are generated during ERT cycle. Here we review how AI has demonstrated potential optimization and personalization of key steps in reproducible manner, including graft selection and closing, cycle monitoring, instructions of oocyte maturation, I don't know what it is, and selection of the most competent gametes and embryos to improve the overall efficiency, safety of means artificial reproductive system. So what I realized from here is that, again, here the importance is giving that here you see that whatever the process I mentioned, there is no chip from there. Clinical history record is required, family history is required. Based on that, we need to train a model. Like I was explaining, madam, CNN is required, that what is happening for that. So how it works actually, you know that, anyone is there who was not studied mathematics in class 12 standard or 10 standard, not in 12, 10? Okay. So if I say that fx is equal to x plus 3, you can remember, right? Fx is equal to x plus 3 if I say, and then say that x is equal to 2, what is the value of fx? No? So now I am giving that, instead of giving it, I am telling that I have some observations of these values for different x's. So y is equal to x plus 3. Now I have some observations of y versus x. It may not be like this linear. From there, if we want to try some experiment to find out what is the function all about, this is nothing but machine learning. So very simple word, machine learning is something that from observation we want to see that how the input is modified to reach this phase. This is actually machine learning is doing. So now you see that some observations we have, based on that we try to find that what state it is, and based on that we are trying to recommend that what should be the course of action or course of treatment for the patient for this ERTs that what are assisted reproductive technologies. So, and again after that some cases are done based on which what is the condition of the gametes and the embryos that has been evaluated so that the healthy baby can be generated. So this is the big paper. So what are the other sections that artificial intelligence methods assisted for that? There is a survey, drafts are there, and a list of papers you can see whatever they have done. So this is all about the whatever I mentioned, how the historical things are there and what are the state of the art. So another is that the morphology and the DNA fragmentation. So DNA fragmentation is something that is absolutely computational power is required. From that we can fragment the DNA, and based on which we try to find a signature in the DNA. If anything can be identified from the DNA signature, we can take care of it, or we can recommend nowadays some genetic treatments are
It is an insightful session, and this session definitely help us a lot in our future work. So let me invite our principal sir to hand over a small token of appreciation. Dr. Chattopadhyay.
Sure. I am available in name of Tanushyam Chattopadhyay in LinkedIn, and my WhatsApp number is 9088814000. 9088814000. 9088814000. Very easy to remember. And Tanushyam Chattopadhyay, LinkedIn, and you can connect me in LinkedIn, or you can ping me other than anything. Good morning and good evening. That is something I strictly follow. Absolutely strict from there.
Before we handed over the certificate, so how many dinner or lunch is required with you? Because this is possibly I'll be having 12 lunch with you. So to get the turing.
For the
turing.
Yes. 7 more years. No, you have to take photo during sessions. You missed it today again. So